Face it, we are in a crisis. We are in a crisis. The global trading system has been upended. Supply chains have been destroyed. McDavid is unsigned. This is not a transition. This is a rupture. As in times like these, you have to draw back in. Remember what you have. Draisaitl, Hyman, Nugent Hopkins. We got to draw on those strengths. We got to draw on those values. And Connor, if there's anything that we can do in the upcoming budget, we're spending less, we're going to invest more so we can bring that cup back to Canada.
Canada is falling apart at the seams, and apparently our Prime Minister thinks it's hilarious. Welcome back to the Freedom Pines podcast. I'm your host, Jamie B. This is where we debrief and discuss pop culture and politics from an independent perspective. And if that interests you, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share this with your friends because it helps me get my name out there in Commie Canada. So let's get into it. First of all, we're going to talk about Chrystia Freeland. It's still not very clear to me what is happening here, but either way, there has to be a by-election or she's staying in that spot. And either way, what is wrong with her? I think I was watching Moose this morning. I think it was Moose that said this. Almost a year since this happened last time, where she was about to present a budget, and we haven't had a budget since then. Don't make me have a heart palpitation, because I will, because I took 2 of those. Anyway, back to this. Genuinely, what is going on with our government? How can people just, I'm watching Moose on the Loose's video from this morning. There are people in Niagara chanting to let this man out and calling him pedo scum. Didn't the RCMP warn people this was going to happen last year when Canadians realized how poor they were? Can you imagine how mad Canadians might get after you guys promised a good deal and no jobs lost and all of these different things, lower food prices? And 6 more months of the Liberals and our country's even worse. You're spending even more than Justin Trudeau did. The fact that PierrePoilievre gave props to Justin Trudeau should tell you all you need to know about how bad MarkCarney is running our economy into the toilet. Guys, if you're not from here and you're an American, also let me know if you are. But, because I do have some Americans watching, but let me know. I'm sorry, I don't know American politics too well, I do follow it. Was Trump's big, beautiful bill their budget? I don't know, because this budget is so much more over budget that they've had a woman quit twice. What is she running from? What is Chrystia Freeland doing? What is an envoy? Why does it sound like the convoy? What's a special envoy to Ukraine? What is going on? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills sometimes when I listen to these things. And I just want to point out to everybody, how do you stay sane, Jamie? You are a stay-at-home mom. You only have yourself. I literally do things. I literally bake. When I'm listening to these things, I am gardening, exercising, walking, cooking, doing all of these different things. And that is how I ingest it. I do not suggest doom scrolling because right now, honestly, the world is so crazy. So that's just my advice. If you're really struggling right now, you don't always have to stay informed. I usually do this because it's my job to do this now. So this is what I do. But you know what I mean. Take care of yourselves. But anyways, so Chrystia Freeland up in the air. Okay. Either way, though, that could mean that we could have an election and get another conservative spot. Maybe her base will feel a little bit betrayed that less than a year after they voted her in, she's leaving to Ukraine. I would be mad. What do you mean? I genuinely, something tells me that I'm not wrong about this election prediction, because I think our government can only fail so long. He can only come out and be so horrible at communication before his own side. He's already running thin ice with all of the NDPers. Okay. I genuinely do not think, after tone deaf things like this happen, I don't think there's going to be much time in between the next elections. Okay. And you know what? I got to say, Global hired Ben Mulroney to run some sort of new politics segment, maybe. Anyways, Rachel Gilmore was complaining because he's too biased. I'm going to take a break there to look you guys in the eyes as if we're in the office. Like, girl, who are you talking to? Because you are the most biased person I've ever seen doing news, okay? Rachel Gilmore's unbiased attitude is what started also helping me peel back what was real and what wasn't real. So, girly, you got some looking in the mirror to do if you think that about Ben Mulroney, because up until a couple of months ago, I didn't even know who Ben Mulroney's dad ran for. I didn't even know if he was a conservative or a liberal. Never brought it up before until probably he's gotten so much complaints or seen BS himself in Canada, and he's like, okay, you know what? We're done with this, okay? And I completely understand that because that's how I was here. Too many things have happened to me, okay? And I'm like, all right, this is enough. They've brainwashed us to hate each other. They've brainwashed us to think that we're in some sort of doomsday cult, because I don't know how else to explain telling everybody that we need to go into poverty to save the planet, because it might, what? You guys are just as bad as the extreme religions who are constantly waiting on the rapture, which I gotta say, I don't know, seems like end times to me.
From the pandemic. Of course, supply chain snarls and global inflation are hitting people hard. So we apologize if the meat was tough tonight or if you chip a tooth on a bread roll. But I swear we will eventually have a dental plan for you at some point. Jigmeat, we really got to sit down and figure something out.
Yeah, and here's the thing. That's like my, okay, final boss villain origin story, because I'm sorry, even if, like, how could you think that's funny? Even in 2023, when this happened, there were still a lot of Canadians accessing a food bank, which, by the way, they're about to strip churches of their tax exemption, and a lot of shelters and food banks are ran by churches, and they, it's going to impact all of those shelters. So I'm so grateful that the Liberals are just doing such incredible things. Okay, so not only that, but this, not only was it taken down, I was censored on TikTok. They told me I was AIing this. This is in 2023. I was AIing this. No, this was at the press gallery in 2023, where all of our faves were in the audience laughing with them. Probably Rosemary Barton, Rachel Gilmore, laughing at us not being able to afford food. And he might have been talking to them tonight, but we all know what he's saying there, and that it's funny, because Canadians do have to have tougher pieces of meat. Canadians are the ones that are going to be going through this, while MarkCarney and Justin Trudeau laugh about how much they gain from screwing us over. And that is not okay. The things that this Liberal government has done to us, they've overloaded, and they've done so many horrible things that we forget that Trudeau said something like this. This should have been playing over and over and over again. By the way, Conservatives, you should have used this during the election. Okay? Or the part in MarkCarney's blurk where he doesn't denounce the quote where he shares homeowners are a useless class, disposable class, even better, that are only good for keeping peace and fighting wars. We are literally mice to them. We are mice to these people. They can't even, and before, it's like people say, oh, no such thing, or the two parties are there to keep us separated. Are they though? Because, like I said before, pre-2010, I don't remember a time where we were fighting. But I also have never recalled seeing a conservative act like this, mocking Canadians, taking all of our tax dollars and mocking us with it and laughing that we can't afford good quality food and that they still haven't implemented their dental plan yet. Okay. And I will say, I disagree with Pierre when he said that Chrystia Freeland would be remembered by, sacrificing the budget and kicking Trudeau out. Because here's the thing, she's not going to be remembered for that. She's going to be remembered for smiling while she froze our bank accounts. That's what Chrystia Freeland's going to be remembered as. She's going to be remembered as the person who laughed while she broke our rights and freedoms. Like, Chrystia Freeland is genuinely not the hero, never was, never will be. If she was, she probably wouldn't have ran for the Liberals again, because why would you run for the Liberals when you know that MarkCarney was the one advising the budget that you didn't like? That was just her role to play. In my opinion, that was a role to play. They had to figure out when they were going to let go of Trudeau and Carney was going to go in, and that was a perfect opportunity, right?
Committed to the greenhouse gas emission targets that it's set for 2030 and 2035.
We want to make sure that we find ways to support our objective and, of course, to be net zero by 2050. The goal for 2026 was to have 20% of all electric vehicles being sold in Canada to be EVs. And at the end of last year, we were at 19%. What happened is we decided to not follow up with our own subsidies back in the spring. And by Canada having not offering subsidies, the percentage of electric vehicles being sold in Canada right now is at around 8%.
Almost like people are only getting it because they get a reward. Almost like people can't even afford them if they're not getting a buyback, probably, or a tax credit, whatever. And I would honestly strongly suggest that the Conservatives ask them how this is good for the environment. The Conservatives have some great projections out there with how much emissions across the world we would save if Canada produced oil and gas. However, they need to bring out the cardboard, okay? If they do this, I swear that means they're listening to me. Bring out the cardboard pieces of giant billboards with what it looks like to make an electric battery, okay? I don't mind minimal electric, like whoever wants to get one should be able to get one. Do whatever you want to do, especially in the city. You want to run off of electricity, you go for it. However, okay, the most that I think ethically a government should be doing is saying, here, we will give you, I think the tax credit is what they should do. They should give people who garden tax credits too. If you want people to buy that, don't mess with our markets. Don't mandate things in our markets. What are you thinking? It has only led to the destruction of all of our auto sectors. Like, MarkCarney at the beginning of this was like, come on, how much do Canadians use steel? All the time, every day. Ask Hamilton. I don't know. Ask all the people that have lost their jobs. Like, these people, like, okay, explain to me how this is better for the environment. Go on. They won't, because they use the buzzwords like sea change or greenhouse gases. They don't actually talking about doing good things for the environment. They don't care. If they did, they would know that creating a wind turbine farm only creates a funeral of wind turbines, giant blades that are like so long, 150 feet long or something, okay? By the way, I do not approve of the Conservatives embezzling our money. I'm just saying that the left always says, like, oh, the Conservatives love oil and gas. They've embezzled our money, blah, 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 blah. Billionaire friends. Okay, well, at least Canadians were allowed to also make good money back in that day, right? if the Conservatives benefited, so did we apparently. So, but obviously I don't want them to be corrupt, but you see what I'm saying here. We're done with the experiments. We're done with whatever version of harm reduction you guys have spit out. Okay, we're done with whatever version of balancing the budget you guys came up with. Okay, we're done with the bail reform, aka instead of having social programs for these people to be in facilities and retrieve, you guys have thought process is just, or progress is just letting people out on the streets to further victimize people. We're done with that. Okay, we're done with the way that you guys treat us when we have problems with Soji, which, by the way, you know, if you actually look into how deeply homophobic the queer theory is, it seeks to eliminate terms such as gay and straight and lesbian because those are gendered terms, guys. Okay? And I seen someone post, Portuguese pal, he posted yesterday about how there's no far left groups on the Canadian government website. Of course there's not. Why would they tell on themselves? They are the far left. All of these things that not only, by the way, Sweden has done a lot of these things. Denmark have done a lot of these things. Canada has taken whatever version they've done and completely half-assed it, embezzled all of the money, and it's like this never-ending corrupted circle of BS because we still don't have people at the top willing to put it out. So anyways, guys, that is my episode today. I know it sounds like a bummer, but damn, like, what is wrong with our government? You know, I feel like sometimes we just need to get together and be like, what is wrong with them? You know, debrief. Like, what are they thinking? How much do they think people are going to be, like, do you really think people are going to be happy with owning nothing? Do you think the masses are going to be happy with whatever surveillance, controlling version of Canada that the Liberals seem to want to have? Is anybody having a good time? Is there any call out to safety when it comes to Canadians? No? Well, then we're going to talk about it. So anyways, guys, I will see you in the next one and have a good day. And tell me if there's any topics you want me to talk about. And thanks so much for getting me to where I am now. Have a good one, guys.